Hello, welcome to Officelime Payroll Management Software. Officelime Payroll Management Software is a customizable payroll platform that does not compel you to change the way you compute your employee emoluments, instead, able to adopt your own requirements. And it does this in several ways. One of the major ways it does this is to allow you to capture as many forms of allowance or deductions as you want. And with this, you could actually specify if you want those allowances to be prorated or to be taxed. The system also allows employee to request for loan if that's an option from your policy. Also, we have employee self-service. This allows employee to proceed and specify to generate their payslip. We also have Payroll Variance that allow the admin to be able to check from previous months if they are being compliant on the payroll schedule. Finally, we have the reports. The system allows you to generate a lot of reports, several reports. So when we go into the demo, you're going to see some of the reports that the system allows you to generate. Being shown the dashboard, general dashboard of the entire app. We have a little widget here on the right hand side of the screen that shows mini dashboard from the payroll of what's going on. On the left hand side as well, we have our major payroll module. Once you click here, it takes you to your payroll dashboard where you have more information to display here. So you're gonna get to see more analytics. If you have more than one company, it's gonna allow you to see more information here. So moving on to where the action is, that's the payroll records. The payroll records display the pay schedule for the month. So here you could specify, you could jump into any of the months you want to view the payroll records for, and also you can specify if you want to see a payroll record for a specific location. As I said earlier, the system allows you to do for multiple companies, so you could have different company payroll schedule here on the system. One of the very important things before we start anything is the payroll structure. The system allows you to define what your payroll elements are, your basic housing, transport, utility, and what have you. And you could also capture more than this. So these are just for the demo. So one of the major parts of the system is that it allows you to calculate 13th month, end of contract, NHF, NS, ITF, ITF, and also pengasing for oil and gas. Any settings you adjust here, once save and you run, it will use those settings to compute your new payroll calculation. What you want to do is to set up the employee gross, to set up the salary of individual employee. So we could just edit employee and go to the salary setup. System allows you to specify the bank, account number, the currency. System supports multiple currencies. You could also specify the PFA, RSA PIN. You can then put in the gross here, monthly gross, and the system also support day rates. You could specify if you want to calculate payee for this employee. If you have the tax ID, you could compute that there for auto remittance of tax. Then you could specify the pension if you want to charge pension. Then we also have employee voluntary pension contribution. So if employee wants to provide more of their fund, they want to contribute that, you could actually capture that there. The next section we have is allowances and deduction. So the allowance and deduction makes room for other things that you want to add to your system, like other deductions or allowances that is not in your payroll structure. It's not in the standard payroll structure. So like for example, car allowances, corporate deduction, any form of deduction or allowances that you could think of, this can handle it. So let's see your corporate deduction, for example. So here we customize this to also allow formula. So meaning the system can actually you could use formula to determine what deduction you want to make, and of course it could also be an allowance. So that's under deduction. So for car allowances, you can just have that there, and you could determine if it's taxable or not, if you want to prorate it, and once you make all those settings available, the system will be able to put that into account when you are running your payroll. You could then determine who are eligible for those allowances or deduction under each of the settings here. So like for example, this person has car allowance of 1,000 and is starting on this date and there's no end date. So the system allows you to specify when an allowance or deduction is starting and when it should terminate. So you also have that for corporate deduction and for lateness deduction. And if you have large employee, you don't need to worry about manually capturing this information individually. You could actually come here to upload allowances and deduction in masses. For, let's say, for car allowances, you have an Excel of data that contains all the employee that you need to capture for car allowances. You could actually specify them here and upload. Same apply to uploading gross. So if there is change in your gross, maybe there's a salary review, you could actually upload those information with a single click. So the system also allows you to view the breakdown of each of the pay records. You could see the breakdown, how the system has determined what goes to what in the system. And finally, you could look at the payslip as well. So that's the extension of the payslip. All the employee earnings are on this column, while the employee deduction on the column that follows. The contribution from the employer is in blue, and all earnings that has been made over the years till date is on the right hand side. And to run the payroll, you just need to simply click on the run button. So the run button process all the changes you've made in the system and re-execute it again to give you a new computation. We have a publish button here that publishes the payroll once you've done. Next we have is the reports. The reports allow you to view the payroll summary. It summarizes the payroll in terms of by location or by department, by unit or by company. There is also tax schedule for your payee for the government. You also have bank schedule for payment. You have your pension for the PFAs, allowance and deduction. You have specific reports for each of the allowances you've customized, you created. You could actually derive reports based on that. And you have payroll variance. Payroll variance allows you to see difference in payroll months so that you can determine if there are errors in your payroll or not. For your time, if you have any question, kindly send a mail to info@officelime.com. Thank you.